Right. Okay. Hopefully everything should be fine now and I should actually be able to get into a run. I don't know why this is like... Because I haven't changed any settings since the last time I've streamed, so I don't know why this is decided to happen, but whatever. Hopefully, right? This means like this is my bad luck over. This happening and me having to spend like 12 minutes setting up the stream means that the game will just give me all the good luck and it'll be very kind to me. I basically want the last run I was on without the execution mistakes I made. Because the last time I ran this, I got like a really, really good like run. Like it had like really good luck and everything. But like I basically made some like really stupid mistakes that basically just stopped me from finishing. Well, it didn't stop me from finishing, but made me not want to finish at least. Okay. I thought it was pretty good. So I think my current goal for any percent is sub 220, which I know I can definitely get. I don't know how accurate my sum of best is anymore. I know I cleaned it up a while ago, so it wasn't actual accurate. But I think that since then, I've messed it up again already. It's actually been quite a while since I got my PB, so I don't actually remember really where some of my time saves are. Okay, Egg Festival time save, I think that's probably because of rain. I'm not sure what the Flower Festival time save would be. Spring I think is just cutscenes. Oh, I think the summer time save is from not doing is from doing the library in... What note would that be, or what split would that be in? I think it would be in the Flower Festival split. But so instead of doing the library in summer, I go visit it in spring. Full standard, winter. Winter side save I don't actually think would be from missing a festival because that's only like 40 seconds. Festivals are much longer. 50 notes is just whatever. Oops, that's not the right button. Oh, I'm comparing against now. Comparing against my latest, apparently. My latest run was just, well, my latest finished run is just 4 seconds behind my PB. Okay, getting sub 6 minutes in the intro is pretty good. Okay, so we've got like one small cutscene left in which Ellen gives me the dog, and then the actual gameplay shall begin. Unfortunately, the dog isn't really used for anything in this run. I can't actually remember whether the Bow Wow note is still in Glitchless though. Because there's a note in the game basically, but I think it's for like actually getting like, it's getting your dog to 3 hearts. But the way you do it is basically just by picking it up. Not 60 times, but it's like once for 60 days, once per day. And that does enough to get your dog to 3 hearts. I can't actually remember whether that's still in Glitchless or not. Because it's a really easy note to do, but then it takes like, if you add up all the time it takes to go to your dog and pick it up and put it down, it takes like 6 minutes or something. So I don't remember exactly what like the pattern of weeds I'm supposed to be doing is. But I think I've actually got it pretty close to correct. Okay. Oh wait, no. For some reason I thought that was like the final one. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bin 20 weeds in order to get the bin note. For some reason I thought that was like going to be the 20th. It wasn't though. This next one shall be the 20th. Well, not like the next one, but you know what I mean. The next 5 weeds I put in the bin. Something that's also pretty good. So so in the game, like, pretty much all of the overworld is like preset. So things like the trees are always in the same places, the rocks are always in the same places, like woods, like just like random bits of wood, they're always in the same places. And weeds are also, like, for the most part, in the same place. So usually there's like, the weeds that are like laid out are usually the same, but sometimes there's like a few additional like extra ones. And while this doesn't seem like a big deal, usually if like there's a slight difference to something like that in the overworld, it usually means that the mine that I'm going to be visiting later may not be the way I would like it to be. So you visit the mine 2 times in this run, and the first time you visit it there's like, I don't know what the percentages are, or like what the actual chances are, but like, there's a decent chance it'll be like the same thing. So there's like a decent chance I'll know what the layout is, and I'll know where like the few items I need to get will be, so I can just leave really quickly. And usually if there's like a small change to the overworld, like there are a few extra weeds knocking about, then that kind of means sometimes that's usually like a way you can tell that the first time you go to the mine, it isn't going to be the one that I'm expecting. But I'll probably explain a bit more of that as I get closer to actually going to the mine. That shouldn't... Oh, seriously? Yeah, this day's actually going pretty well though so far, I think. Like, I don't really think I should need to eat any more items in order to like not pass out from doing the whistling note. Yeah, so I don't have to eat or find any more items, which is good. And it's like, what, just under 2 o'clock? Or just before, I suppose. Okay, yeah. This is like pretty average. Like, it's not necessarily great, it's just kind of typical. Like, I'm pretty sure I've managed to get to like this spot before 2 o'clock before. But like that's kind of rare, and it's like, but it's really good if you do. It gives you a bit more time to do what I'm doing at the moment, which is whistling. And the reason why whistling is good is because there's a note in the game for whistling 50 times. And basically the earlier you get it, the earlier you can stop doing it, which obviously makes sense. But then once you stop whistling, you then have more time to do other notes that take up time. Or not take up time, because pretty much all notes like this, you do them during periods of time where you have to wait. So right now I'm waiting for 4 o'clock to get the note for staying out in the sun 10 hours. So at the moment I'm not really wasting time, I'm just passing time. Okay, so coming up, and so the reason why I've positioned myself outside this little cave is because coming up is the rock climbing minigame, which is the first of 2 major parts of luck in the run. The second part being the second trip to the mine. So this can either go really well or really badly, or somewhere in between. I feel like it usually goes, it's either usually somewhere between average and bad. I think I've had like one rock climbing mini game before that was like actually really good, and it happened in a marriage run that like I was way behind on. So basically what you want in this mini game is you want as little as that as possible, because wind lags out the game a bit. But if you do get wind, you want it to be an updraft, because that like pushes you up and allows you to climb faster. Something's gonna hit me. Okay, no. You also want to like manually move out of the way of rocks as little as possible, because the more time you spend, because you can't climb upwards whilst moving out of the way of rocks, so that slows you down a bit. Okay. So I wasn't hit by anything, which is good, and I didn't get, and I did get an updraft, which is also good. But the problem was I got quite a bit of like other wind, so that slowed me down a bit, and I also had to move out of the way of a lot of rocks. So that definitely wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't that good. But okay, only being like 9 seconds behind, they were still good at this point. Like, I'd say something like, being this far behind, or like the small time saves and time losses at the beginning doesn't really make a difference, but I mean, like, I've managed to like PB by a few seconds before, I've managed to miss PBs by a few seconds before, so I guess sometimes they do make a difference. Okay, so it's not raining today, which isn't necessarily a shame, because it does kind of like mess up the run a little bit, or it messes up like the splits in the run a little bit, but I think this is actually like the best, or at least the second best day for it to rain. That fish was good, because that's one that I do want. So getting that nice and quick is good. So, because it hasn't rained today, the least I can hope for is for it to rain tomorrow. Because tomorrow's another really good day for it to rain. So the reason why it would be good if it rained today is because I wouldn't have to water any of these squares. So you actually have to do the most watering today, because of the fact that usually you don't have to water. You don't have to water your grass except for the day that you plant it. So in 5 of those squares just under my house, I'm going to be planting some grass. And then the reason why it's good if it rains tomorrow is because I don't have to water any of the herbs that I'm going to put in that left plots of soil. But I also don't actually have to sickle any of my grass tomorrow either. So I don't have to go outside at all tomorrow if it rains. So today and tomorrow are like the best days it can rain in this run. It's still like slightly beneficial if it rains after that, but not as much. I feel like I forgot something, but I don't think I did. So the reason why I bought a bunch of turnip seeds at the end there is because I'm going to try and use them to do a glitch slightly later on. And it's quite a big glitch, it's like pretty much broke this game. I say broke this game, basically it shortened the run by like 20 minutes or so. But I still say it's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to pass out. I am doing this on purpose because there's a note you get for it. However, something that is very important, which I forgot to do in the last run I did, which cost me a really good run, is if you leave your house before you actually like do the animation of getting the note for it, you don't actually get the note and you have to pass out again in order to get the note. Which means you have to watch this cutscene that I'm about to see again. You can't skip it like the second time you pass out. I think it's like slightly shorter, but it's only slightly shorter because I think in this cutscene, like the first time you see it, if you haven't met Alex, he introduces himself, but after that he doesn't because you've obviously already met him. Okay, no rain. Not necessarily a problem, just not a time save that I'm getting. Okay, so if it had rained today, or if it rains tomorrow, it still saves me like a tiny bit of time, but it really doesn't save that much time, because the only thing that like saves time in is the fact that I don't have to water breadfruit. But because I don't have to water these anymore, because they've grown, means it wouldn't save me as much time. Hey, Rose playing games. I'm playing on the American GameCube version. It was also released in Europe on the Wii. But yeah, I'm playing on the GameCube version just because I'd assume I'd enjoy it more than playing on the Wii version. But I just prefer the GameCube controller to the Wii controller, so I didn't mind paying like a bit more to import an American version of the game. Okay, so this should be the last day I have to sickle my grass, and it's also the last day I have to water my breadfruit. So I didn't get any rain, which is not fantastic, but not necessarily, you know, I doubt it will like cost the run, it just make it a bit more difficult. Whoops. Hey Gogo, I'm doing good, thanks, how are you doing? So coming up is the first trip to the mine, which happens straight after the Egg Festival. That's good to hear. So the first trip into the mine, there's a very high % chance that I know what the layout of the floor is going to be, and where like all the different ores I'm looking for are going to be. But there's a slight chance that a few different things can happen. So if I'm only like slightly unlucky, then I'll get the layout I'm expecting, but there'll be like, if like there's like, so there's a chance that like sometimes just the smoke that comes out of the rocks are different, and that shouldn't really affect me at all. If I'm slightly unlucky, there's a chance that like the rocks or the ores are in different, or like the ores aren't in the rocks that I'm expecting them to be, but that doesn't mean I could still get the rocks that I'm looking for, or like enough rocks that I'm looking for. And if I'm really unlucky, then it's just a completely different layout altogether. Okay, so the good thing is that it's the layout I'm expecting. So that is silver, which is good. That is copper, which I think is good. There's silver, less good. So usually there's a moonstone in that one. Okay. So not as good, unfortunately. I'm just going to reset the floor instead of, because moonstones are like commonly found in crystals. Oh, I'm pretty sure you can like only find them in crystals. Okay. So not a perfect mine, unfortunately. So on that first floor, where that second silver ore was, usually there's a moonstone there instead, which is ideally what I was looking for. But yeah, sometimes that just doesn't happen. But okay, so now I'm setting up for a glitch called Inventory Storage. Which is a glitch in this game that allows me to duplicate items and get a lot of money. And it works by using seeds. So basically in this game, seeds are one of two items that are stackable. The other item is animal medicine, I believe. Maybe like the miracle potions are stackable as well, but I haven't checked that. But what I mean by stackable is usually if you have two of the same item, they take up two separate slots in your inventory, whereas seeds don't. If you have, well, you can have them take up like multiple slots, but you can also have them stack on top of each other. So you could have 5 seeds in the space of one slot. So because of this, when your seed count decreases, it decreases at the end of like the animation for using the seeds. So if you manage to equip the seeds at the same time that it decreases them from it, like removes them from your bag, it basically messes up your inventory. I don't think that was it. No. So one way to like tell for sure if you've got it is if you go into the menu and try and swap around items, the items won't swap around, and you'll get given a lot of money. That may have worked. Yep, okay. So yeah, so doing that has given me a lot of money, and because I now have a lot of money, I have the very rich note. So the reason why it's called inventory storage is because basically what's kind of happened is my inventory has, like, the state and contents of my inventory has been stored or saved or whatever, so that if I try and like remove those items from my rucksack through any method, they'll still be there. So it allows me to do stuff like this, where basically I'm trying to like swap out the items from my rucksack for empty slots in the refrigerator or the shelves. So the game recognizes to put the item in the shelf or in the fridge or whatever, but it doesn't recognize to like remove it from the rucksack because it's kind of been like, because the contents has been like saved or stored. And it doesn't just do it for that, so whenever I give someone an item, or if I ship an item, or do anything like that, eat an item, anything that would typically remove an item from my rucksack, the item stays there. But one of the drawbacks of this though is the fact that now I can't actually put anything in my rucksack anymore. So because you need to like get rid of a bag of seeds in order to activate the glitch. Once you're in the state, you'll always have at least one empty slot where the seeds used to be that you used to get into the state. But so I'm able to like pick things up, and it will allow me to put them in my rucksack. But what it does is the game recognizes that there's an empty slot there and keeps that. Oh no. But now that I've got these items, I can do some befriending. So I'm going to give some gifts to Bob, Blue, and Ellen.
Hi.
Yeah, it's like more of a tick in most other places. Interesting how we've all like universally agreed that a cross is bad though. Except for like PlayStation controllers. Yeah. Completely forgot what I was doing for a second there.
Hi.
Is it bad sometimes? I don't think I've ever seen a check mark being used in like as a bad thing, unless it's like check you did something bad or whatever. Maybe I'm just not well versed enough in uses of check marks around the world. So this is a note you wouldn't typically be able to do with without doing inventory storage, or well, obviously you would in typical gameplay, but you'd have to make a lot of money, and it would take ages. Okay, I've never seen that. Like, that's interesting though. Okay, so today I'm going to undo inventory storage. I'm going to exit out of inventory storage. And there are two methods that I know of, at least, to exit out of inventory storage. One of which I'm going to do today, which is getting a rucksack upgrade.
Hi.
The other method, which I hopefully don't have to do, is just saving and reloading. So it's not as exciting, unfortunately. But the reason why I hope I shouldn't have to use that is because after this I should only enter inventory storage once more, and from that point onward I should be able to stay in inventory storage for the rest of the run. I'd only have to exit it if I have messed something up and I don't have an item that I actually need. I mean, you can do a run where you only go into inventory storage once. At some point, you would have to exit out of it anyway. Just because you wouldn't be able to like do everything else, limited to like only being able to use the items in your rucksack. Okay. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good at the moment to get it here. But yeah, just going into inventory storage the second time just makes things a lot easier. So some of the notes I do in there use a lot of stamina. So if I have just like an item that I can eat in there, or like in my rucksack whilst I'm in inventory storage, I can just eat that item and it won't run out, so I don't have to worry about foraging or buying loads of items. So yeah, so like you don't have to like do it twice, but it's just like it's a lot easier and it makes the run quicker to go into it a second time. Okay, so after I visit the junk shop and buy rucksack and a cooking pot, I'm then going to head over to the library, which at this point I don't think should necessarily be. I don't know, actually, maybe it will. I think so because of going to the library I might lose time on this split, but then I'll save the time again in summer, so it's fine. Yeah, this game's got a very unique art style. I feel like the art style in this game is either like I feel like most people feel it's either very like love it or hate it. I think a lot of the people I've seen talk about it kind of like they either like really like it or they just think it's really like it's like the thing that's put them off playing the game the most. Assuming I know what you're talking about, in usual gameplay it's usually when you give someone an item they like, but if it happened in a cutscene then it's just like a general animation that they use for things. I have to buy quite a few of these because I used quite a few. Yeah, I'm assuming that's like the little sparkles you mean. So I think it's just meant to show like the people are happy. Because it's like the same animation. They like if you give someone an item that they like, then that appears above their head. Okay, I had way more than I thought I did. But I guess that's fine. Okay, so today's their day off, and by they I mean Ellen, Bob, and Blue. But luckily, it's not the carpenter's day off, so I can still go to them and get some stuff bought. Yeah, like I doubt if my menuing is like 100% like optimized, or is like the most efficient way to do it. Because sometimes it's just easy to make like minor mistakes. But I think after you do it enough, you just kind of get used to like knowing when you need to swap items out when. I was assuming that chicken was going to move and just be nice to me. But of course now it's moving. I don't know. I suppose you could think of it that way. I think sometimes like items don't always end up in the same place, but I guess you could say that because like you wouldn't always put them in the same place. But I don't know. Okay, so that day was a festival, but it was the horse racing festival, which I don't need to go to, so that's why I skipped it.
Oh. Yes.
Hi.
Chicken getting in the way again. Okay, but today is going to be their day off, so there's no need to go out today either. Okay, so I'm almost done befriending them. So the good thing about like the way the camera route works is I end up actually duplicating like the exact amount of items I need to give them once I've exited inventory storage. So unless I mess up and give them like an extra item, or not give them an extra, I give them like the wrong item or something like that, then
Oh.
once I've ran out of all of my items, that's how I know I don't have to befriend them anymore.
Hi.
Hey Dick Kitty, how's it going? Yep, item duping is a thing now. It was kind of like half discovered by someone on Reddit who I can't remember their username at the moment. But basically they found like an item, or they found like a money glitch in the game, which I always kind of knew there, or like believed there was, because there were like loads of internet rumors about it. But basically I asked the person how they managed to do it, and then once I managed to replicate it for myself, I was like, okay, cool, it gives me loads of money. But then I also found out that you can also use it to swap around, or like to duplicate items, basically. And that's kind of like the main purpose of it now. Yeah, also I should have gone to the carpenters first. So yeah, because this is going to be the last day that I befriend Bob, Blue, and Ellen. So I'm going to do what any person would naturally do once they've made friends, and that's move away from them. If I could actually get my menuing correct, that would be much appreciated. Me. Yeah, so the reason why I'm moving here is because it's right next to the town square, which is where most festivals happen. So anytime I need to go to the town square, I'm pretty much just right outside it already. And because I don't need to befriend Bob, Blue, or Ellen anymore, I don't actually have to live right across the street from them.
Oh. Yes.
Hi.
Oh.
Okay, so I've now moved house. I don't think I'll get the cutscene here because it's raining. But usually I'd get a cutscene here from Ellen, basically saying that she's now my friend, and this is where you get the note from. So the people in this game give you like a gift if you get them to 2.5 hearts, 5 hearts. I think that's it. There may be another one, but I can't remember if there is, or if there is, what the number is. And when you get the item from 2.5 hearts, you also get a note. I guess you only get the note if they're a bachelor or bachelorette. So yeah, so because it's sunny today, I'll get this cutscene with Ellen. So now coming up is also actually the second major part of luck in the run. It's the second trip to the mine.
Lucky.
So the first trip to the mine is only like slightly luck based, because for the most part it's like there's like a good chance I'll know what the layout will be and I'll know where things will be. This isn't the case at all in the second mine. In the second trip to the mine, everything's completely random. So yeah. But yeah, so that right there is why I moved right next to the village square, because going to a festival is just so much quicker. Okay, I may lose like a bit of time in this split. I don't think I'll be behind, but I might lose like a bit of time. Yeah, it's going to be about even, I think. Maybe just like a couple of seconds. A couple of seconds, I was right. Okay, but now for the second mine. So I've already shipped silver, because I shipped it whilst in inventory storage. I've already shipped copper, and I've already shipped junk ore. So the items I need limestone, gold ore, rare ore, and if I find another moonstone then that's good, but it's not 100% necessary. Okay, this is actually looking really good so far. So I've got everything except the rare ore. And the rare ore is easier to find on floors 10 and lower. Whoa. Okay, being put down to sub-level 7 that quickly is pretty good. I'm going to see if I can find rare ore on this floor. Okay. I thought for a second I was really close to getting all the ores before getting the destruction note. So the destruction note is what you get when you smash 20 rocks. And it's like really rare to get it. I've got it once. So like the whole time I played this game. And it's entirely luck based. It's not like something that you can just get by being good. But it's just a way of basically going, wow, I got really good luck because I got this before. I got like all of the ores before I got the destruction note. But I didn't get that far after, so I'd still class that as a really good mine. Because I didn't have to waste time going through through loads of floors, because I went, straight... I went straight to floor 7 then floor 9, so that was actually quite good. So because I also managed to find a moonstone, I can get this note at this point. So usually if I didn't get the moonstone here, I'd have to duplicate the one I got earlier. Okay, so all that's really left in spring is to now... I may as well try and watch the cutscenes for Bob and Blue, but then the rest of spring is pretty much just... No, pretty much, the rest of spring is just sleeping. Okay, so I'm going to wait a couple days to try and get the cutscene with Bob, because he's a bit more difficult. But if I wait till the festival day, because festival days are guaranteed to be sunny, that's usually a pretty safe bet to get that cutscene. Okay, good. So yeah, so I'll save time here. I don't know whether or not I'll gold, but I think it'll be pretty close to it. Okay, yeah, so I won't gold, but I'll still save time. I think part of the reason I won't gold is just because I think my gold for this split, I think only had like one note cutscene there instead of two. But yes, that's spring, and now we're in summer. The rest of it is a lot more relaxed now. In fact, a lot of the run from this point on is probably just sleeping. Skipping that festival because it's slow, so that festival is the beach minigame festival. So, oops, almost went to bed then. So something I'm looking for in summer is I'm looking for a cloudy day in order to get another weather note. Specifically the cloudy one. And the reason why I'm looking for a cloudy day is because during this weather day, or the weather day coming up, one of the things I want to do is brush the animals that live on Blue Sky Ranch. Oh wait, no, this is in the square. I thought it was at the beach for a second. But yeah, but if it's a rainy day or if it's winter, then the animals in Blue Sky Ranch aren't outside. They're in the barn, which obviously doesn't count towards getting the weather note. And I've already got the note for staying out in the sun 10 hours, so the only one left to do is cloudy days. Is to get the note for staying out in the clouds in cloudy weather for 10 hours. Okay, but because I went to the, I've already been to the library, that means there's like an automatic time save here, which is good. Okay, so even though I'm waiting for a cloudy day, I'd much rather it be like as late into summer as possible. And to be fair, it doesn't act, because I've already been to the library, it doesn't actually have to be in summer at all. It can be in fall. And the reason why that is because the further into the year I do the weather day, the more weeds there are going to be out, which basically makes doing the weed note a lot easier. That's also why it's a bit bizarre, but if there were a few like storms in summer, that would actually be quite good, because again, storms make it so there are more weeds in the overworld, which would just make it a bit easier to get that note.
Oh.
Hi. Huh?
Lucky.
Okay, so coming up on the 24th of summer is a festival that I'm going to skip, called the Fireworks Festival. And the reason I'm going to skip it is because it's like the longest festival that you could still do in the run. Like, oh well, it's the longest festival that like is reasonable to put in the route. So the idea is I could do the Fireworks Festival, or instead I could attempt to get the Big Eater Note. And basically what the Big Eater Note is it's a note for eating 50 items. And that sounds all fine and dandy and easy enough, but the problem with it is the eating animation actually is quite long. Or it's longer than like a lot of other animations. So it ends up taking a bit longer to do. So the idea behind it is I try to do the Big Eater Note like many other notes, like in time, like during periods of time where I actually have to spend a certain amount of time, where I have to waste time anyway, in order to get another note or to wait for something, or just things like that. And then most likely I won't get like the note during these sections, so like right at the end of the run I'll have to like just finish it off. But the idea is if that final section of me finishing off the Big Eater Note takes less than like 2.5 to 3 minutes, then it's faster than going to the Fireworks Festival, just because that's like how long the Fireworks Festival is. It's like 3 minutes. And usually I consider this to be like a risky strat, but I've pretty much been doing it like consistently lately. Still actually waiting for that weather day as well now. Cause I haven't got any more festivals left in summer, so all there is left to do is that cloudy day. But as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't actually matter if it's not in summer, because I've already been to the library. If I hadn't already been to the library, it would actually matter. So if I hadn't already been to the library, what I'd have to do is, if it wasn't cloudy on the 30th, because it can't be cloudy today because today's a festival, then I'd have to wait for the library to open normally, and that would waste a little bit of time. Instead, what I'd have to do now is skip this split. I guess I don't have to, but it would be like really inaccurate, because it'd be like an 8-minute gold, but then I'd lose like 7 minutes or so in fall. So it would come back up, but then it would be weird to run against. Okay. Right, so I believe these are all the items I need. I'm just going to do one final check. Yep, okay. So saving again. So for people who weren't here earlier, this is the inventory storage glitch. And basically what I'm doing, or what I'm going to try to do, is equip this bag of seeds basically at the same time that it removes them from my bag. Okay, that worked. Yep. Oh, I forgot about this. I don't actually know if doing that like affects the timing for it at all. I don't think it should, because I don't think it ever actually counts you as being outside. Hey Curly Crab, how's it going? Yeah, so as I've mentioned, this like picking up all these weeds is a lot easier because there's so many more of them than there would be if I did this note at like the beginning of summer. The good thing about this is it allows me to kind of like work my way up towards the towards Blue Sky Ranch while still working towards a note. Okay, so I think I typically get this note at around 11 o'clock. Maybe. That's a rock. There we go. Okay. I'm usually not like this close outside, so even though it's a slightly like a little bit later than 11. It's still fine. Oh man, Blue's here. He's basically going to get to see me harass his animals. So yeah, so if you like the sound effect they use for the cow, then you're going to love this section, because it's me brushing the cow 20 times. And the cow does not enjoy it at like any point of this. Good. If you don't position the cow right, then whilst like when you try and trap this the cow like into this corner, there's like a chance that it can clip into the tool shed. And yeah, basically the reason why I trap it in this corner is because it tries to run away from you every time you brush it. But if you put it in this corner, it actually like, can't run away from you. Okay, now I have to ring this bell 20 times. Yeah, you lose stamina for pretty much doing everything, like anything in this game. Like, you lose stamina for like even picking up items. Like, it's a really insignificant amount, and like, you'd never actually be... Well, I guess you would be able to pass out by picking up an item, but you'd pretty much have to be doing it on purpose. But yeah. No, I don't think you lose stamina for walking though. That would make the game ridiculously difficult. I think if they ever made it so that like walking too much or running around too much made you lose stamina, they'd have to make it so that like not doing anything and just standing still like regain stamina. Yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, so pretty much the main reason why I went to the library earlier instead of now is because if I had to go now, I'd get there like a bit after the note, so I either wouldn't get the bell note or I'd have to go like slightly after, or I'd be wasting like a little bit of time. So since I'm basically I'd waste time anyway, I may as well do it earlier in the run and just make it a bit, like, things like this a bit more consistent. So yes, that's what was supposed to be done in summer, but now done in fall, done with. Everything in fall now is pretty much standard fall stuff. So there's 3 festivals to go to. There's what's it called? Moon Viewing Festival, that's it. And then there's the Harvest Festival and Pumpkin Festival. If you're asking like why I was leaving those like few items before going to bed, it wasn't necessarily to actually like regain stamina. It was more specifically to eat those items. Because one of the notes that I'm trying to get is the Big Eater note, which is for eating 50 items. So I'm just taking like any chance I can to increase the counter towards that so that at the end of the run, when I actually have to spend time eating, instead of eating whenever, like during a time where I have to spend time to wait for something, I don't have to spend as much time right at the end of it, like actually spending time eating, if that made any sense whatsoever. Can't actually think what that time save in winter would be. Because there's a minute 40. No, not even that, it's 40 seconds. 40 seconds time save is definitely not long enough to be a festival. 40 seconds time save, that could just be going to the island. So it could just be I go to the island in fall instead of winter. So if that's the case, then I think I should get... if that's what that time save is, then I probably will get that time save. But yeah, by the end of fall I should actually be able to tell like how far ahead I am. So really it should be like at the end of summer, but I had to skip the summer split because I didn't do the cloudy day during that part. Okay, so in a few days there's going to be another festival, and it's going to be the second horse festival of the year, which I still don't want to go to. So yeah, skipping that festival because, well, not necessarily because I don't have a horse, because the whole thing of like, the first time you go to the horse race festival, you can actually meet quite a few characters, and some of those characters can actually lead you to getting like what should be easy notes. So there's a note in the game for drinking 10 sodas from, well, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be from a calf, but it's like, it's either getting it from a calf or getting all the things you need to make your own sodas, which is much more difficult and time consuming. But then the problem is the Horse Race Festival introduction cutscene is long enough itself, but then even with that, like actually then watching the cutscenes for all like the individual cafes that you have to go into in order to get that note is then pretty long itself. So even though that note, like on paper, is pretty easy, it's unfortunately quite time consuming because you have to watch like a bunch of cutscenes to actually just get the note. So the only thing that's really left to do in fall now is 2 festivals. The first one coming up is the Harvest Festival, which is why I put that pumpkin in the town square shipping bin. And then the festival after that is the Pumpkin Festival. So that's why I specifically have a pumpkin in my bag, so I can use it for the Pumpkin Festival, but I can also use it for the Harvest Festival, which is really good. And the good thing about the Harvest Festival and Pumpkin Festival is they're both relatively short festivals. So they're both the typical festival where like you can leave pretty much as soon as you get there and you still get the note. But with the Harvest Festival you meet Gourmet, and I think he gives you a recipe. And then the Pumpkin Festival you get given a power berry. Okay, so I think I should only have to visit the dolphin maximum of 2 more times. Like, if I've done an extra time where I can't remember, then I'd only have to visit it once more, but I'm pretty sure I'll have to visit, like, it'll be 2. Okay, so we should have 1 more, which is good, because that means that final one will be like after the Pumpkin Festival. Which means if that's where my time save in winter comes from, then I should save that time. If it's not, then that's just could be a different time save. I still could save that time, I just don't know where it would come from. Okay, so I think I will have saved time from... So I think I'll be further ahead than I was at spring. Most of that will, if not all of that, will pretty much be from summer. Actually, I might be 2 minutes ahead. I didn't think I was going to be, but no. I think I'm going to be like at least 2.5 minutes ahead. Probably more. Oh, actually, no, maybe not, because I've still got the game just really lag out there. No, yeah, so no, I probably won't be like 2 minutes ahead. I forgot that like this split is at the end of the day and not at the end of the festival. So being able to go to the island means I don't have to befriend the dolphin anymore, which is good.
Lucky.
And that also means that fall is now done with. We're just over a minute and a half ahead. That's pretty good. Not the best I've been, or I've done. Like not the first that I've been ahead at this point, but still pretty good. Like if I get a time save, because I do apparently have a time save at winter, and I have a slight time save at 50 notes. I could still get my goal of sub 220 with this run. The rock climbing has already been done, so the rock climbing is done in the spring 2 split, which has been the only point so far in this run where I've been behind. But no, that's pretty much one of the first things you, not necessarily one of the first things you do, because you do like the whole sun note first, but at least in the grand scheme of the run, it's one of the first things you do. Okay, so that festival is the Chicken Festival, which I don't need to go to because I don't have a chicken, can't win it. But yeah, so something I'm waiting for now is a snowy day, which I know I've missed like a few snowy days so far, but it doesn't really matter. Because I imagine I'll get quite a few more chances to do snowy days. But also can't be on a Monday because I need the library to be open. Okay, I can't actually remember what day this festival is on. I think it's the 19th. But yeah, but coming up soonish is the Flame Festival. And in order to be able to attend that festival, I need to put this wooden stake in the festival bin. Okay. And now it's a snowy day, so I can do it. I may as well do it here. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm working towards a note called cultivation, which is for tilling 100 squares of soil. And the reason why I'm specifically doing it in winter, because there is a reason, because I am specifically doing it in winter, I'm not just doing it now because whatever. I'm specifically doing it in winter because basically in any other season, when you till soil, if you're just mashing X like I am currently, then your character will try and they'll till like all the soil around you, and then they'll slowly walk to like the next available spot until that. And basically that takes up a bunch of time. Whereas because the soil doesn't actually change when you till the snow, your character doesn't do that. It just keeps tilling the same spot over and over again. But it still counts towards the cultivation note. So yeah, so it's just a lot more efficient. So yeah, so the notes I'm planning on doing today. So after the cultivation note, I'm then going to get the milk and eggs note, which is for shipping 10 milk and then shipping 10 eggs. Then I'm going to get the stationary note, which is a note you get for standing still for a minute and a half. And then yeah, I think after that all there's left to do is work towards the big eater note, which as I pointed out earlier, I won't get it during this period, and I probably won't get it. Like after this, there's like one more period of waiting where I can like work towards that note. But then after that, that's when it actually starts taking time. But then obviously at the end of this day, I'm going to go to the library and get the note for reading all the books in the library. The Y button brings up the menu, strangely enough, yeah. The Y button is essentially the pause button in this game. Start doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, the winter music in this game is really good. Okay, not Big E's time, stationary time. So yeah, so this note is just for standing still for like a minute and a half. Yeah, I really like pretty much all the music in this game. Like the music in the Harvest Moon games, like in general, is pretty good. Like the Harvest Moon games have some pretty good soundtracks, but I really like the Magical Melody one as a whole. I feel like with most of their games, like they'll have like some really good themes, but then like some, like to be honest, usually the winter theme is actually usually the one that I don't particularly like. Like I'm not a massive fan of like the Back to Nature or Friends of Middletown winter theme. I think it's a bit boring. But I do like the Wonderful Life. Not the Wonderful Life. I do like the Wonderful Life soundtrack as well, but I like the Magical Melody soundtrack. Yeah, the Wonderful Life soundtrack is good. Its biggest problem with it is because it's not done season by season. It's done by whatever you're playing on your record player. So chances are you will only ever play, I think, the track called Spring Breeze. It's like the default one, and it's an amazing song. But it sometimes like pretty much feels like that's like the only song in the game, because like the soundtrack doesn't change when you're in a different season or whatever. It just feels like that's the main theme of the game. Okay, so this should get me the snow note. Yep.
Lucky. Lucky.
Okay, so that's pretty much like the last big day of the run. I guess there's like still one more big day, and that's like the actual last day you do in the run. But yeah, from this point onward, it's mostly just sleeping, festivals, and like the occasional random note. Yeah, it's certainly an interesting note. But yeah, as you said, it's definitely like, if you're playing casually, it's bound to happen at some point of you just like leaving the controller idle for long enough. But I think that's kind of the cool thing about it, is there's like, it's a note that you wouldn't necessarily like try to get. It's like, it's pretty much the opposite of that. You have to do absolutely nothing to get it. Okay, so I've got 2 more festivals left in winter. They're both pretty long festivals. There's the... Oh, I can't remember whether it's called the Starry Night Festival or the Starlight Festival. It's called one of those 2. And then there's the New Year's Sunrise Festival. Okay, so today is going to be the Starlight Festival. So yeah, so none of the festivals that are left, I have to put anything in like the festival bin for. There's just 2, I guess they're cast as like romantic festivals, and then there's one just like regular village square festival.
Lucky!
Okay, so the next festival, which is the New Year's Sunrise Festival, is, as you can probably guess, on the last day of winter. So then once that festival's ended, that'll be the winter split done. Yeah, I think I'll probably end up saving time here. Like, I know there's not much time to save, there's only like 40 seconds, but I think I'll probably end up saving a bit of that. Okay, so if I'm right in saying this festival is about 2 minutes, I think I'll probably save somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds. If it's longer than 2 minutes, then I might not save that much time. Okay, so if I've done everything correctly, I think there should only be 5 notes left. So there's, no, 6 notes left. So there's this one, so the one for this festival that I'm at now, the Night Owl note, which I'll get immediately after this festival, the Spring Footsteps note, which is for the festival on Spring 1st, the Diary note, which is for saving 30 times, Animal Kingdom, which is for having a full level 2 barn and chicken coop, and then Big Eater. So the good thing is I can pretty much check how many notes I'm on whilst doing the diary note, because saving the game tells you how many notes you have. So I'll probably end up saving the game on Spring 2. So by that point, so when I save I should have 40, it should say I have 47 notes, because the only notes I should have left to do would at that point would be Diary, Animal Kingdom, and Big Eater. Okay, so the end of this cutscene is the end of winter. Yeah, actually no, this is pretty close to my best. Okay, so now this is the last bit I get to like, where I have to waste time. So this is like the last bit I have to waste time in order to get Big Eater. Or the last point where like it doesn't cost me any time to work towards Big Eater. But another note I'm actually working towards now is the Night Owl note, which you get for staying up until 6 o'clock in the morning. And the reason why I'm doing it specifically now is because this festival puts me at 5 AM, meaning I only actually have to wait an hour. So some festivals put you back at like midnight, and some festivals only put you back at like 6 PM. But yes, this one's really good because it puts you at 5 AM. Okay, it's really important I didn't like run out of the door straight away then, because that would, because if I left before I actually got the Night Owl note, then I wouldn't have gotten the note, and I'd have to do it all again in order to get it. So this is probably the quickest festival in the game, if not it's the Egg Festival. But that's why, because it's a festival where you can just like leave straight away, but there's no like cutscene where you have to meet someone or you get given a power berry. I think the Egg Festival is like, or the first time you go to the Egg Festival is like similar to it as well, if not the same. I'm just going to make sure I have loads of money now. Hopefully I should have 47 notes. Good. So yeah, so as I said, this note is for saving 30 times. So I'm not just being really cautious. Okay, so now I have 48 notes. So as I said, the only 2 notes left are Animal Kingdom and Big Eater. Yeah, so whilst doing inventory storage, if you actually try to like, well, pretty much doing anything will just like change the amount of money you have. But it's always like ridiculously high. I think it's probably like, I can't remember what the actual term for it now. I want to say it's overflow. It's something to do with that. It's something like that. It's an overflow. It's like a coding error, basically. I think overflow is the right word. So, yeah, so at this point, actually finding random food is actually quite good. Because it's actually quicker to eat random food than to take something out of your rucksack. Bizarre, I know, but yeah. Yeah, it's either an underflow or an overflow. It's something like that. Okay, so here's pretty much the last part of the run. Basically, where I split on this, like like how far ahead or behind I am at the end of the split, pretty much determines like how much I'll PB by, because there's not really like, oh look, I could save a second in the next split, but the next split is pretty much entirely cutscene. So yeah, this split kind of determines how far ahead or behind. Like I doubt I'll be behind, because the only note I've got left to do is Big Eater. I might lose time here, maybe, but I shouldn't be behind. Really now it's just kind of as to whether or not I'll meet my goal. So as I said, I think at the beginning of this run, my goal for this game is sub 220. So basically, if I'm a minute 43 ahead or more, then I'll reach my goal, unless I just decide to not, to like fuck around in the last split. 224. Okay, save time, that's good. But yeah, so that means this. So this is obviously definitely a PB, because there's pretty much no way to save or lose time outside of purposefully losing time in this last split. So yeah. So yes, this will actually be sub 220. So yeah, that's really good, because as I said, that's my goal for like, well, that's my current goal for this game at least. It could definitely be like better, because like the run I had before this, I think, was probably like much further ahead. And obviously I can get like better luck in some areas, but yeah, but the reason like why sub 220 is like my main goal is because like even if it can go lower, it's like, it's pretty much just like, you know, hoping for a really good rock climbing minigame, or hoping for rain whilst I'm growing crops. So it's kind of like, it's you know, it's pretty much like, so from this run, there's maybe like a tiny like moments of like actual execution based time saves, so like not messing up some parts of menuing, I guess. But for like the most part, pretty much all time save on this run now I think is just luck. So it's just getting lucky when I'm growing crops, or just getting lucky during rock climb minigame or whatever. But yeah, but then that actually leads me to think, what am I going to do after this? Because I'm not 100% sure whether I want to stay with Magical Melody for a bit. Because if I do, I'll probably go back to Glitchless. Though part of me does actually I want to start making new notes on on the all notes run, because I'll have to like change quite a bit of it because of like the inventory storage glitch. But that'll be quite a while, so that probably won't be like the next thing I run, unless I just go inactive for like a month or so, which I don't really want to do. So yeah, so I don't know, I might do glitchless, but something I also kind of want to do is I want to go back to Wonderful Life, because at the beginning of this year I bought myself a Japanese GameCube so I can actually play Japanese Wonderful Life, because I actually have 2 copies of Japanese Wonderful Life, but for some reason the way the game's programmed, it doesn't work even if you soft mod your console. But yeah, how long is Glitchless? Glitchless is, I think my current Glitchless PB, which isn't like, I guess it is uploaded somewhere, but it's not uploaded as a Glitchless PB, is, I think it's 241 something. I think it's like 240, I want to say it's 241.43, but for it to be like exactly 20 minutes behind what my current 80% time is, seems a bit too good to be true. But it's something like that. It's like a low 240. It's in like the low 240s. But I don't know. So yeah, I think it's kind of a toss-up between any percent glitchless for Magical Melody, or maybe going back to Wonderful Life. But I don't know. Yeah, I know, you'd probably like, it's easy to think that like, you know, all the glitches would like save loads of time in this run, but that's the thing, right? Like, the glitchless route is actually like ridiculously optimized, and pretty much same for the glitch route now. Like, they're both pretty optimized, so 20 minutes is, unless like another big glitch is discovered, 20 minutes is about as good as it's gonna get. No, thankfully you don't have to count the cutscenes, because well, so I know there are 9 cutscenes like that you watch of these, but after you watch the 9th one, so after you watch the one for 45 notes, it like automatically takes you out of the spring, so you have to walk back in. And then time is just on once you walk back into the spring. But even if you did have to count them, this mini cutscene here is kind of like how you can tell that you're a little bit over halfway, I guess, because you get the power berry in this little cutscene once you hand in 30 notes. So after this, I know there are only 3 notes, or three like cutscenes left. Yeah, I mean that as well. Like, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a similar time. Well, yeah, I mean in this route, assuming you do the same thing, like, I pretty much will always have like a consistent orchestra split in, I'd say, yeah, probably in glitches, and if you don't go for Big Eater. Actually no, yeah, even if you go for Big Eater, but sometimes you won't split like for 50 notes in the same place. So like the orchestra split might include a bit of running up to the goddess spring, but yeah, but in this route and run it's pretty much consistent because I always do Vegeta outside of the goddess spring. Okay, so yeah, so this will be the final cutscene of the notes. The next cutscene will be the orchestra cutscene. Assuming I do actually have 50 notes, but I'm like I want to say 100%, but I was 100% that I had 50 notes at the end of the last run I did, and I didn't. But I'd say 90% at least. I'm almost pretty certain. Hey, HK Notes, thanks for subscribing for 11 months in a row. Damn, it's almost been a year. Seriously, I appreciate that. Being subscribed for almost a year is insane. $2:19:18. New PB, new world record. Beat my goal of sub 2:20. Boom. I saved time as well in that last split. Nice. Yeah, I am actually really happy with this run because like execution wise, it's really good. Like I don't really think I made any like massive I don't think I made any massive mistakes. I probably made like a few menuing errors here and there, but that's like, you know, bound to happen in these types of runs. And then it's just like but yeah, but then luck based, like the luck could have been better. I think I got pretty decent luck in the second trip to the mine, and that's probably like the best. I don't know, because like the rock climbing minigame, which happens at in the Spring 2 split, is pretty much consistently bad. So that's kind of whatever. But second trip to the mine actually went pretty well. And yeah, like that's kind of like the main improvement that I can make to this run is just getting better luck, which I have no control over. So I honestly think I'm probably done for like any percent for a while now, or like any percent glitched at least. As I said, I might do some I might go back to glitchless, but I don't know. I might go back to some other Harvest Moon games instead. I haven't 100% made my mind up yet.